Hello and welcome to Tribune Sports Live, brought to you by Paul Davis Restoration of Birmingham. I'm Zack Steele along with Damian Mitchell. And Damian, week two's in the books and a pretty good week for Tribune country.
Exactly. We had a clean sweep 4-0. Everybody played and everybody won.
What stands out to you in all of these games that you've looked at?
And all of them, they scored a lot of points. There was a lot of offense being played, a lot of playmakers all over the place. And I mean, the points are, if you outscore, if you score more than the defense, I mean, you're probably going to win the game.
Yeah. Things get a little bit more serious for most of our teams as region play starts this week, so they got to step it up a notch.
Yeah, these games are where the playoff implications are involved. You know, week 3 starts region play. You start filling out everybody, and you start eliminating each opponent each week after a win.
When we come back, we'll have the Hewitt-Trussville highlights of their big win over at West Forsyth over in Cummings, Georgia. But first, our Scholar Athlete of the Week is Bo Nix of Pinson Valley, and our Player of the Week is Willie Miller from Clay-Chalkville. We'll be back in just a moment.
Congratulations to Clay-Chalkville quarterback Willie Miller for this week's selection for Most Valuable Player, presented by Ortho Alabama Spine and Sport. Miller racked up 284 total yards and 2 touchdowns in the Cougars' win over James Clemens. Congratulations, Willie, and thanks to Ortho Alabama Spine and Sport for sponsoring the Most Valuable Player Award. Congratulations to Bo Nix of Pinson Valley for this week's selection for the Beds Express Scholar Athlete of the Week. Congratulations on the academic and athletic success, and thanks to Beds Express for supporting our student athletes in the area.
Trussville Vision Care is now proud to offer sports vision training for athletes. This sports-specific training improves hand-eye coordination and reaction time. As a former college athlete, Dr. Steele knows how important perfect vision is to succeed on the athletic field. For athletes, 20/20 vision is not enough. Trussville Vision Care.
Paul Davis Emergency Services of Northeast Birmingham helps by providing needed cleanup and restoration services. Through the appropriate tools and processes, we avoid wasting valuable time to get your property to its previous state as quickly as we possibly can.
Welcome back, and the Hewitt Huskies traveled over to Cummings, Georgia Friday night to take on West Forsyth, and Damian, they wasted very little time as Javarius Johnson went 97 yards from the opening kick.
I mean, people hadn't even gotten down in their seats yet, and he took the opening kickoff to the house, and that way the Hewitt-Trussville's Twitter handle is Husky Fast, and Javarius Johnson is Husky Fast.
I say that was so fast we barely saw it. So Creed Parker was the star on defense for the Huskies Friday night. He had an interception. He forced a fumble that pretty much sealed the game for the Huskies.
Creed was all over the field for the Huskies defense, and even though they gave up 30 points, that interception and that forced fumble were 2 key things that helped them get that win.
Absolutely. Speaking of the Husky defense, they struggled, but they made the plays when they needed to. Stephon Bland from West Forsyth kind of went crazy. Had well over 250 yards rushing against this Husky defense. They've got some warts there on the defensive front, it looks like to me right now. They're not playing as well as they probably want to be. What do they do to get that fixed?
I think they have to just keep the mindset bent but don't break. I know that the Husky offense is going to score a lot of points, and I'd hate to have to put more pressure on the offense, but when it comes down to it, you can't be misaligned every play, and you have to eliminate the big plays. And the Huskies are going to have to do that the rest of the way, and it's going to be a long season if they can't. Yeah,
absolutely. They're going to host Oak Mountain Friday night in their first region game. When we come back, we're going to talk about Clay-Chalkville and their big victory over 7A James Clemens. We'll be back.
Have you been to Discount Warehouse lately? New electronics, brand name makeup, and bedding arrive daily. Follow their Facebook page to find out about special sales on clothing, tools, and fireworks. Discount Warehouse, where you will never pay retail price.
Jefferson Memorial Funeral Home and Gardens is home-owned and operated by the Seal family. I've known Eddie Seal and his son Adam for over 25 years. They're community-oriented and, more importantly, good folks who know how to take care of people in their time of need. That's how Jefferson Memorial became Trussville's funeral home and cemetery. Jefferson Memorial is located at 1591 Gadsden Highway. You can call them at 322-0543. Before your need arises, let Jefferson Memorial Family take care of your family.
All right, welcome back. And Damian, Pinson jumped out to a 21-0 lead against Ramsey and coasted to a 41-12 victory. They got to play in a monsoon in the third quarter, but the game was out of reach at that point anyway.
Yeah, when the rain comes, you start feeding your running back the ball a little bit more, and Jay Sharp took advantage of the opportunities that he had, and you see the numbers project that.
He was a one-man wrecking crew for Pinson, and they really showed they can be multi-dimensional. Bo Nix didn't have to do very much Friday night in this win, and that's got to be a comfort for them.
Oh, without a doubt. As a quarterback, when you know that you have a guy like Jay Sharp to hand the ball to, it makes your job a lot easier as far as play action is concerned, and RPOs or the run-pass options. They take the load off of Bo Nix, and as you can see, the offense can still flourish without any kind of big numbers from Bo.
So Pinson didn't play very well in week one against 7A Hoover, but who does, unless you're St. John's out of Washington, I guess. But are they back on schedule now?
Without a doubt. I believe they're getting into the meat of their schedule where they'll be facing their competition in 6A. And, Hoover was a good learning experience, as you understand that, the gap is big, but they see that it can compete, and it's going to be hard to beat Pinson Valley the way.
I absolutely agree. So Pinson will be on the road against Shades Valley Friday night in a region game. That's going to be an interesting ball game. We'll talk about that one a little bit later. But when we come back, we're going to talk about Springville and their first victory of the season against Asheville.
For every step of the home buying process, turn to Laura Cardwell Dennis with Keller Williams Trussville and Tanya Golden with First Bank Mortgage, located in the new Keller Williams office in downtown Trussville. They work together to ensure a pleasant home buying experience because their special interest is you.
Welcome back. And Damian, last year it took Springville a long time to get their first win of the season. This year they do it in week 2, a convincing 34-22 win over Asheville. This
is complete motivation for the Tigers as they go along in this season. Getting their first win of the season this early can actually propel them the rest of the way.
And they were behind in this game. They showed a lot of character coming back to win this ball game. They trailed 22-19 in the fourth quarter. The skies open up. It starts to rain. And they just kept focused and won the ball game.
I think it starts with Austin Hutchinson at quarterback. He had an exceptional game, and the 2 rushing touchdowns that he had actually propelled them and actually helped them out with the offense. And when the rain comes, you have to hold on to the ball.
Yeah, and you got to run the ball too. When it's really coming down, it's really hard to throw the football.
Exactly.
And he still had a good night. He was 18 for 32, 134 yards. He threw a touchdown pass, and like you said, he had 2 rushing touchdowns. So nice win for them. A little bit of momentum going into region play. They travel down to Sylacauga Friday night. That one should be interesting as well.
It should. And actually, if they pull out a victory in that game, they're going to have some open eyes about Springville Tigers this year.
Absolutely. When we come back, we'll talk about Clay-Chalkville and their big win against James Clemens.
Kemp's Kitchen, located in the Trussville Shopping Center near the 459 Highway 11 interchange. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the whole family. And watch for our specials on 50-cent wings.
Welcome back. And the Clay-Chalkville Cougars went on the road Thursday night up to take on a top 10 team in 7A and James Clemens, and it was the Willie Miller show.
Willie Miller has solidified himself as one of the best players in our coverage area, and the Clay-Chalkville Cougars have something in store for the rest of 6A.
Well, Miller finished with 100 yards rushing, 184 yards passing. He had a super night. He had an electrifying 70-yard run in this one for a touchdown. DJ Dale had a big night for the Cougars as well.
Exactly. Clay-Chalkville has the playmakers on the field, and I believe that this should be an eye-opening experience for everybody that's having Clay-Chalkville under the radar. This may be a wake-up call.
Yeah, absolutely. Boy, that Pinson and Clay game, we're itching for that one down the road a little bit. Clay got out to a big lead, and, well, they didn't get out to a big lead. They took the lead in the second quarter, and they really just kind of kept the pressure on kept the lead just enough to keep it in hand.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Clay-Chalkville. They're not going to beat themselves. And when they maintain that lead, and when they got the lead, they maintained the lead, and they didn't have to do anything spectacular, any kind of big, just anything out of their comfort zone to maintain the lead.
All right, so they're going to host Niceville, Florida this Friday night. The shrimp boaters down from Niceville are coming to town, and that should be an interesting ball game. Niceville's always one of the top teams in their division in Florida, so that should be an interesting ball game. We'll talk about that one in our predictions in just a few moments.
I'm Drew Lawley, General Manager at Courtesy Buick GMC. Come see us at Courtesy, where we have over 300 vehicles to choose from, including GMCs, Buicks, and certified pre-owned vehicles. Come see us at Courtesy or check us out at courtesybirmingham.com. Proud supporter of our area high school teams.
All right, welcome back. And before we get to predictions, I wanted to bring up, say a couple of words about former Hewitt-Trussville quarterback Zack Thomas. Zack made his first college start, and he gets to do it in Happy Valley against number 10 Penn State. Zack had an amazing afternoon for Appalachian State. He almost willed them to a huge upset. They fall in overtime to the Nittany Lions 45-38. And if you know this young man, he's a great kid, and we're very proud of him being from our area. So congratulations to you, Zack, and good luck in the rest of the season. All right, prediction time. Hewitt's going to host Oak Mountain. Oak Mountain's 1-0. They beat up on Chelsea, not a very good team, in 5A, I believe. And this should be a game that the Huskies can win.
Exactly. It's the actual first home opener for the Huskies, and I expect a big crowd. I know the Huskies are going to pack the stands, and I believe they'll win.
Yeah, they should win. I'm thinking they're going to win 2 or 3 touchdowns. This should be a game that the Huskies, they have better athletes on the field. They ought to be able to take care of business if they can stop the run. That's going to be the big question mark. Clay hosting Niceville, Florida. That's going to be an interesting one.
This should be. There's going to be athletes all over the field. As in Niceville, Florida, they're bringing in a lot of speed, and I believe the Clay-Chalkville Cougars can match up with them, and I believe Clay-Chalkville can pull out this victory.
I believe they're going to win this one too. It's going to be close. It's going to come down to a late field goal, late turnover, something. I think Clay pulls this one out. But this team, I'm telling you, they're salty. They're blue collar. If you've ever been to Niceville, Florida, man, it's right on the bay, and those guys they're hardworking kids, and it should be an interesting ball game. But I like Clay to pull this one out. All right, Pinson on the road against Shades Valley. Shades Valley gave them all they wanted to last year. Shades Valley made it to I believe the third round of the playoffs last year. They've got some rebuilding to do. They were trying to replace a quarterback, so they lost to Jackson Olin last Friday night, if that tells you anything. So they've got some work cut out for them in this one against Pinson. Your thoughts on this game?
Well, Pinson's coming off of their first victory of the 2018 season, and it seems like they're starting to gel on the offensive side of the ball. So I believe that Pinson's going to take this one in pretty convincing fashion. I
like Pinson in this one too big. I don't think Shades Valley has the guns to keep up with them, and I think that Pinson rolls in this one. All right, Springville on the road at Sylacauga. Your thoughts on this one? Can Springville go down 280 and pull an upset?
I don't see it happening, but I don't think it's going to be as convincing as people say. I believe Springville is going to keep it close. Sylacauga has more weapons, has more firepower than Springville has at this time, but I don't think the Tigers are going to be able to pull it out, but it will be an interesting game to watch.
I'm with you on this one. I like that pick. I think Springville hangs around for a little while. I just think there's too much depth for Sylacauga, too many hosses on the field, and I think Sylacauga pulls away with this one in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
All right, that's our show for this week. We'll be back with more recap and more predictions. For Damian Mitchell, I'm Zack Steele. So long, everybody.